More people are migrating than ever before, posing enormous challenges and opportunities for individuals, countries, and the entire world.
This year, global migration reached levels that force governments, media, and institutions to rethink how they talk about it.
I think London actually is quietly dying. I mean, when I was young and I was in London during the 80s, London was booming.
In 2025, migration stopped being treated as a humanitarian issue. And quietly, it became something else entirely. Not a crisis, not an emergency, but a power issue. And that shift changes how the world will look in 2026 and beyond. This year, global migration reached levels that force governments, media, and institutions to rethink how they talk about it. Armed conflicts, climate shocks, and economic pressure converged at the same time. And the result was movement, massive, sustained, and often repeated movement of people. But what matters is not just how many people moved. It's how migration started being framed. For years, migration was discussed mainly in humanitarian terms. Refugees, aid, emergency response. In 2025, that framing began to fade. Migration entered geopolitics, national security debates, demographic strategy, domestic political bargaining. It was no longer seen as a temporary problem to manage. It was treated as a structural force shaping economies, borders, and power. That's the story behind the headlines. Armed conflict played a major role. Wars in Gaza, Sudan, Yemen, and Ukraine displaced tens of millions of people. These were not short-term movements. Prolonged bombardment, collapsed infrastructure, and restricted humanitarian access forced families to move again and again, not toward stability, but toward survival. Sudan, in particular, became the fastest-growing displacement crisis in the world. Ukraine remained Europe's largest displacement crisis since the Second World War. These conflicts didn't just move people. They reshaped regional economies, strained neighboring states, and altered diplomatic calculations. The second major driver in 2025 was climate change. Across South Asia, Sub-Saharan Africa, and parts of Latin America, floods, heat waves, and unpredictable rainfall uprooted communities already living on the edge. What made 2025 different was repetition. People were not fleeing once. They were moving again and again within months. Humanitarian systems weren't designed for that. Legal systems weren't designed for that either. Climate-displaced people fall into a grey zone, protected by neither refugee law nor environmental policy. And that gap mattered this year. At the same time displacement increased, funding decreased. International humanitarian budgets shrank. Food aid, shelter, medical care, and sanitation services were cut back. This forced organizations into a reactive position. Instead of stabilizing populations, they were struggling just to keep people alive, increasing the risk of secondary displacement and long-term crises. Migration stopped being a problem you solve. It became a condition you manage.